Hey guys, welcome to my next video series. This one's going to be focusing on Starcraft, and it's going to be about playing smarter, not harder. Basically, in this video series, I'm not going to teach you how to be better at the game per se, but I am going to teach you how you can have more fun and win more games without putting in as much effort and just having more fun. So first of all, I'm just going to let you guys know that my skill level is around mid to high diamond. Way back in the day, I was a master level player, but not anymore. And the games that you'll be seeing in this series will be me playing against mostly high platinum or low diamond players, maybe occasionally mid diamond. So that's the skill range of these videos, and the target audience is also people who are somewhere around that skill level. So in this game, I just kind of want to show you guys how effective Widow Mines can be. Widow Mines are great against any race. They're also good in TVT, which is what this is, Terran versus Terran. I'm the red player here. I'm going to be doing a one-base battlecruiser build, and the blue player over here is also doing a one-base battlecruiser build. The only difference between me, the red player, and the blue player is I'm going to be incorporating Widow Mines into my play and using them in early aggression. And what that's going to do is give me more information, more map control, and put more pressure on the opponent. And the reason why that's very effective is it doesn't take that much micro to send a Widow Mine to the opponent's base and burrow it, but it does take a decent amount of micro for the opponent to deal with it. So basically I'm making his life a lot harder without making mine much harder. I just go ahead and set this Widow Mine up in front of his ramp. Now if he moves down the ramp, or if he tries to expand, the Widow Mine's going to mess up his day, cause him frustration, take time out of his other actions that he has to do, and just generally make it harder for him. Another really strong play in TVT is to try to get near their production with your army and set up, or to drop near their worker line and set up. So that's what my next play is going to be. I'm just sending a drop into his base. Now, if he were to attack my base, I've already got a Widow Mine set up defensively as well. So Widow Mines are very good both defensively and aggressively. Just go ahead and burrow it near their army. If he was smart, he would have focused that middle Widow Mine down right away, but since he didn't, I'm in a really good position here. He also mismicroed and attacked his fusion core. So basically, he's making a lot of mistakes because he's flustered, and he's flustered because I'm in his base, in his face, and I'm using Widow Mines, which are also very frustrating for people to deal with. So this game's pretty much over because of the use of the Widow Mine aggression. His battlecruiser is coming across the map, but my battlecruiser is already out as well. I've got Widow Mine set up for defense. I've got a fair number of Marines. So I'm going to be able to chase away his battlecruiser with a combination of my Widow Mines and Marines. I'm probably going to warp into his base with this battlecruiser soon because I'm setting up this for defensively. I didn't actually know his battlecruiser's there. Now it's coming and killing me, but it's okay because I've got mine in his base as well. So at this point, I'm in a really good position. He tried to retreat with his battlecruiser to chase mine away, but I've got another one coming already. And at this point, he's lost so many workers to the Widow Mine harass and everything, he's not going to be able to recover. And the point of this game, what I want you guys to take away from this is just simple actions like putting a little bit of pressure on your opponent with a Widow Mine can make it really hard for them to play the game without making it much harder for you to play the game. And those are the type of actions you want to take. Not things that necessarily win you the game outright, but things that just make it harder for your opponent to play while making it easy for you to play. And now I'm just going to go ahead and move across the map and kill him. I've got a good enough economic lead. I don't need to draw the game out any longer. I know my battlecruiser count is higher than his because I delayed him from harvesting gas with my Widow Mine, so he doesn't have enough gas to get more battlecruisers. So basically I just know that I can win at this point, and that's the case. Game knowledge can often win you games much easier than anything else, so getting a good sense of how to just win games easily will help you climb a lot without putting in as much effort. This game's over now, so I'm going to move on to the next replay. Second video, I'm the blue Protoss playing against a red Terran. One of the things I like to do as Protoss, especially against Terrans, is just go ahead and set up a gateway that's kind of pushed forward towards the opponent a little bit in front of my second natural. What this does is it allows me to chrono out one gateway unit early. Although they're not as good as Widow Mines, getting one Protoss gateway unit in the opponent's base early on can help you fluster them a little bit, get some information of what they're doing, gain a little bit of map control and pressure. That's a very effective strategy to use. Since my opponent's a platinum player, I'm pretty sure I can beat him really easily, so I've just chosen that this game I'm going to make a lot of hidden bases around the map and fool around. The reason why I'm doing that is because if I'm playing against an opponent who's much worse than me, I like to give them a chance to win. Otherwise, there's just no point. I might as well just leave or just kill them early because I know they're not going to be able to challenge me. So what I've chosen to do is to give him an opportunity to win by playing kind of silly and putting Nexus bases all over the map. I'm going to go ahead and harass him a little bit with a probe because when you're probe, when you're Protoss, you have to probe harass. It's kind of like a rule. just because it's an opportunity to frustrate the opponent, and frustrating them makes them play worse. Just whacking away at this depot, waiting to see what comes out. I'm hoping that it'll be Marines, because if it's Reapers, he'll be able to find my hidden bases easier. And unfortunately, it is Reapers. So now my goal is just to distract him as much as possible with my Zealots to make sure that my hidden bases can get up. This video might not show you how to play the game easier, because in this game I'm actually kind of making it hard for myself by hiding a lot of bases. But in a weird way, because low-level players are very bad at scouting, and by low-level I mean like low diamond and below. He's not going to find my hidden bases because he doesn't know how to scout, and so this is actually going to make the game very easy for me, because if you have a lot of hidden bases that your opponent doesn't find, that just makes you have way more money than them. And as you can see, I'm already at 43 supply to his 28, so my supply is going up a lot faster than his. His Reapers will get into my bases, but he's attacking too slowly with them because the early Zealot attack kind of threw him off. And so that goes to show how putting early pressure on your opponent can really throw them off. Because his Reaper attack is so slow, I almost have enough probes to kill his Reapers without even bringing my actual army units in. But I am going to bring my army units in, because fighting them with just probes would just be silly, and I'm not trying to be that silly. So my Adept is really good at killing Reapers. It's going to kill the Reapers. That's another thing I should mention, by the way, is Adepts are really good against Terran early game because they kill Reapers, they kill Marines, they kill SCVs, and they're very mobile. If you want to give a Terran a hard time early game, just build a few Adepts. Stalkers also aren't bad, but Stalkers are very expensive, and they're not quite as good as Adepts because they're just not quite as good. But Stalkers are useful for killing air units, so it's not bad to have them. Now, I'm not actually strong enough to do any damage to him right now. I'm just attacking him willy-nilly because I figure it'll fluster him, and I've got plenty of money, so why not? Also, flustering him will make him less likely to figure out what's going on, and what is in fact going on is that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 bases up, and I'm building a huge amount of economy. Even if he were to attack me right now, if I pull all my probes and chrono out some more units, I can probably hold. And as long as I hold his aggression, having this many bases is going to make me win. So from here on out, this game just gets sillier and sillier because it's a 4-base Protoss against 2-base Terran, and the Terran player is not being very aggressive. I guess because of all the aggression I did, he started feeling pressured, so he's setting up in a very defensive position right here, which is a very fatal mistake on his part, because he can turtle up all he wants and I'll just keep making more and more bases. Now I'm going up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases, and at this point I really could just mass units and kill him, because he's not going to make anything happen, so I might as well. But rather than killing him, I just kind of fool around a lot, and I let him kill tons of my units for free, but in the end I just get bored and end up killing him. There's not really much to see here. I'll speed the game way up so you can kind of see how it goes. I send Void Rays into his base, kind of poking away at him, kill some tanks, walk around. I'm just distracting him so I get a huge economic lead. And after I've got a big enough economic lead, I can let him start killing my bases. Letting him kill this base, I'll let him kill that one too. I figure it'll give him a morale boost, and I'm hoping that he'll do something cool if I give him enough time. But that doesn't end up being the case. I give him all the time in the world. I even end up allowing him to kill a huge group of Void Rays for free, which he should automatically win the game after that if that was a normal game, because it's a huge amount of money that I threw away. I'm throwing away more and more units, trying to give him a chance, but he just doesn't have what it takes. So this game's going to wrap up without much more interesting happening. I just have too much more money than him, and he's not very inventive. So I guess this game is just an example of how easy the game gets if you have more money than your opponent. Because I'm just throwing away units left and right. I'm letting him kill my bases, but it just doesn't matter. I've got so much more money than him that I can't lose, even though I'm trying my hardest to play bad. And that's the end of that game. Relaxing and eating my dinner while I play this game, so I'm a little bit distracted. And what's going to end up happening is the opponent cannon rushes me, and I handle it really clumsily. Although I still end up winning, and the reason why I end up winning is basically just better decision making. I decide to just make another base casually and start making Reapers, and that's enough to defeat a Protoss who's cannon rushing at this level. I don't scout the cannon rush, so it does end up pushing me out of my first base because I handle it very poorly. And I make another bad decision after that too. So what happens here is he does successfully get the cannons in my base before I notice them. I'm still thinking about what to do here. It looks like I'm building another barracks. That means I'm going to go for the Reapers out of this barracks, and I'm just going to make a couple Marines to slow down his cannon rush here. One thing to remember in StarCraft is a lot of the time, a lot of the actions that you make when you're losing are just to buy time. Or even if you're not losing, a lot of the actions you might take to be to buy time. I've already realized at this point that I can't stop the cannon rush, I was just trying to buy time for this barracks to finish. Once I have 2 barracks done, my plan was to go on to 2 racks Reaper amassing. I tried to move my SCVs out of the base and they were blocked in. I didn't realize I had the depot set up like that because I was flustered. So I thought I had to elevator my SCVs out of the base with my command center. This is actually really goofy and it's not a good idea. I slowed myself way down by doing this. It's just an example of me making a really stupid mistake, so I think it's funny. I like watching myself do really dumb things. Cracks me up. So there was no reason for me to do that. It just kind of slowed me down. So I'm in a pretty bad position right now. I slowed myself down a lot by using my command center like an elevator instead of moving my SCVs out of the base. I thought he had walled me in because that's what I would have done if I was him, but in fact I just had a depot there and I didn't realize. So at this point, I'm also being cocky on top of being stupid. I'm just assuming that he won't cannon rush me again because I already know he's a cannon rusher now and I've got plenty of SCVs to stop it. But that doesn't stop him. He's going to go ahead and cannon rush me again, and it's going to work because I'm too stupid to actually check and see if he's doing it. Or maybe I just assume that it won't matter. I can move my base again. Either way, I'm playing this really stupidly. I should have just stopped this after scouting it. I thought I could handle it with my Reapers, but they actually do a really low amount of damage to buildings. They're not really they also get outranged by cannons. I didn't realize that. So my Reapers don't stop the rush. I get pushed out of my base, cannon rushed again. I end up having to retreat over to this base, relying on SCVs and a couple of units to chase away the stalker that's harassing me. But despite all of this chaos, you might be thinking, oh, I'm in a bad spot now. Actually, no, I'm in a really good spot because I've got 2 orbitals up, he's still on 1 base, and I'm massing a lot of Reapers. And he's not going to have a good answer to these Reapers because his economy slowed way down by all the cannon rushing that he did. And now I can just go ahead and jump up into his undefended base. I'm guessing it's undefended because why would he have a lot of cannons at home when he has them all in my base? He reacts really slowly to this here. He should have pulled these probes way faster than this. I don't know if he was staring at his cannons or what, but anyway, he lost the game here by not pulling his probes quickly enough. But I guess all I really want to say about this game is just that if you're in a situation where you're getting cannon rushed, just try to buy time and find a way to kill the opponent anyway. Often people who rely on cannon rushing don't have a lot else going for them, although it's not always the case, but it ended up being the case in this game. Anyway, I found this game quite interesting because I made a lot of bad mistakes, such as trying to elevator my SCVs out and not scouting a cannon rush twice in a row. But in the end, I decided to get serious and started using the good old Mass Reaper strategy, which is known to win games. I'm just kidding. Mass Reapers is not very good, but it's okay against low-level players. Now I've got a huge economic lead because he didn't pull his probes, and there's not really much point in watching this game any longer because it's pretty obvious that I'll be able to win when I've got such a huge supply lead and I have more army than my opponent. The reason why he didn't leave the game yet is because he's figuring, I can always win if I make DTs, which is a reasonable assumption. After I didn't scout his cannon rush twice, why would I be able to handle DTs? So it makes sense what he's doing. He just figures he'll be able to win with Dark Templar because I won't be able to scan them because I'm a noob. That's his plan, but it doesn't work out because yeah, I've got 2 orbitals. I'll be able to have enough scans, and I can just kill all his stuff with Marines. So I'm not going to go over this replay anymore. What ends up happening is I just make Marines and Reapers, and I just keep attacking him until all his stuff dies. And I have scans for his Dark Templar so they don't save him. He's actually doing some decent damage here. I gotta respect it. My Reapers are going to go back into his base, kill even more probes. I'm going to take my Marine army and kill all this stuff here, and then take my second base. Then I'll be on 2 bases. He's just taking way too much economic damage, and meanwhile, I'm just getting stronger and stronger compared to him. It's now at 61 supply to 20. And I thought this was a kind of interesting game because it shows how that you can completely fail to scout a cannon rush twice in a row and still win the game if you just keep your cool. That's partly because Terran is a little bit OP in the early game in my opinion. In my opinion, Terran is very strong in the early game, and so you're best off trying to get a lead in the early game. In my opinion, Terran is pretty weak in the late game, and the reason for that is because Terran's production in the late game just becomes a great weakness. All you have to do is sabotage the Terran's production, and you can pretty much kill them in the late game, whereas other races aren't quite as weak in that regard. So, in my opinion, if you're going to play Terran, you should try to get a lead in the early game, otherwise you might be better off playing a different race. This will be the final replay of this video, and the reason why I'm showing this one last and then wrapping it up with here is this is the one where my opponent called me a hacker, and I really like being called a hacker. It makes me feel kind of flattered. Although this wasn't such a great quality game, I decided to include it anyway just because I played so badly, and yet I still managed to win somehow just because my opponent played even worse. And then he called me a hacker, which it just cracked me up. So I decided I would include it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it a little bit. I'm playing a very standard Zerg, kind of mediocre, but still somewhat standard. I'm making a lot of mistakes because I don't really know how to play Zerg that well. But I'm sending my overlords to scout the map. I'm getting my second base up. And meanwhile, my opponent has 3 gates outside my base, churning out zealots. Now, when I do proxy attacks like this, I'm usually just distracting my opponent while I do something else, like take bases all over the map or something. And so I don't really take this probably as seriously as I should, but this guy's really committing to it very hard. And it's going to take me doing my best to micro well. I'm actually not microing well, no. My queens aren't focus firing, and my drones are kind of a mess. But it's okay because this guy isn't really microing well either. So I'll end up driving away this first initial foray. And just for your information, if you're in this situation where you're getting cheesed, just make sure you're building as many queens as you possibly can. The main strategy behind winning with Zerg is just to make a lot of queens early game so no pressure can hurt you, and then make a lot of drones so that you're ahead economically, and then just mass units to win the game. That's the general theory behind Zerg. Where I messed up here is I got way overconfident. I thought, I've beaten off his initial wave of his rush, so he's probably going to give up on it now and start doing something else like teching or expanding. And because I thought that way, because I'm pretty stupid, I started making drones already. Not really sure why I thought that, because I know that I'm in low elo, so I should have expected this. But anyway, because I start making drones and I don't keep making queens or fighting units, his second wave actually has enough to pretty easily crush me. So at this point, the game should be over. He has enough units to kill me outright right here. All he has to do is attack move towards my base and he'll have won. Now, this is a good example of making the game easier for yourself and harder for your opponent. All he has to do right now is leave 1 or 2 zealots next to this base and attack move the rest of them into my main base. And then he can macro at home and he'll just win because he has more stuff than me and his units will naturally give me a hard time and he can macro and get ahead. But because he's over microing his units and microing them very clumsily at that, he's actually not getting as much value out of them as if he would just attack move them. Like if he was just attack move them, they would be killing all my drones and bases and everything, but because he's moving them around, they're just kind of scrambling around uselessly. So this is an example of a person who has what I like to call negative micro. Negative micro is when you're controlling your units, they actually get less value than if you just attack move them. So he's actually getting less value out of his units by the way he's microing them than if he would just attack move them and let them do their own thing. He's letting me get lots of free hits on him. He's attacking random things. I almost wonder if he's doing it on purpose, if he like feels bad for rushing me and he's trying to, let me stay alive longer because he feels bad for me, so he's deliberately microing his units badly to let me stay alive longer. Or maybe he's just really that bad at micro. Honestly, I think it's more likely that he's really bad at micro because I don't think he's nice enough to let me live on purpose after zealot rushing me like this. So my guess is just that his micro is really bad, not that he's deliberately letting me live. But it looks kind of like he's deliberately letting me live because he has enough units to easily kill me, yet he's insisting on not killing me. So I'm not sure. You guys can let me know what you think. If this guy was deliberately letting me live even though he had too many units, or if he just didn't know that he could kill me. It's got to be one of the two. Either he's letting me live on purpose, or he doesn't realize that he can kill me. Anyway, now that he's killed one of my bases, we're on pretty much equal economic footing. 22 probes, 22 drones, we're both on one base. I'm massing up my units near the top of the ramp to try to stay alive. But his army is getting scarier and scarier, and by all rights, he should be able to kill me here because his units are better than mine, and he can kill my upgrade before it finishes. I foolishly try to save my upgrade because I really want it, but that was really dumb of me because he can force field the ramp and cut my army in half. And so that was another really bad mistake on my part. At this point, I've pretty much put myself in an unwinnable position because he killed a good number of my units that force field there, and I don't have enough left now to hold him off. It's kind of weird how he's setting up a contain here, and the whole point of a contain is to get ahead economically. But even though he's containing me, he's not trying to get ahead economically by taking a second base. So even though he's doing so many things that should easily win him the game, he's spending so much time with his negative micro, making his units less effective than they would be if he attack moved them. Well, I shouldn't say that, because he did use that one good force field there, so that was actually an example of positive micro. The force field on the ramp is the only good thing he's been doing this game. Those force fields are okay too, I guess. So his force fields are good, but the rest of his micro is really bad. Anyway, he has more army than me here, and he's successfully killing me. So now again, all he has to do is just attack, move into my base, and I'm dead. I have just one spine crawler, one queen, and that's it. He probably thinks I have units about to pop out. That's why he chickens out and runs away. Or either that, he's just trying to prolong the game because he thinks he's winning. Whatever the case may be, if he just walked up the ramp there, I would be dead. There's nothing I can do to stop him. But he keeps going back down and letting me live. I guess he's chicken because he thinks I'll have more units hatching, or he just wants to drag out the victory. Either way, he finally takes a second base. Yeah, that's so late that it's almost too late. Here's where I think he might be trying to just keep me alive, as he waits until my upgrade's almost done to kill it. It's almost like he's trying to give me a chance. I don't know, it could just be coincidence. Anyway, let's speed up the game a little bit so you can see how it wraps up. Long and the short of it is, he takes so long to kill me, and this is the lesson to be learned from this game, by the way, is if you've won a game, you should just end the game. Don't give your opponent too much time, or they might find a way to kill you. Unless you want them to find a way to kill you. But anyway, he gave me so much time I was able to make mutalisks. While my mutalisks fly over to his base, I'm using the defensive position here to barely hold off his attacks. And now once the mutalisks get to his base, I'll be able to kill all of his workers. He has very little anti-air. He's going to go up the ramp again, but his micro is not going to be very good here. He's spending too much time moving and not enough time attacking, and he's getting flanked here. He's going to try to go back, but he has very little anti-air left, so I'll kill his anti-air, and then his last resort will be to call me a hacker. Wait, how did you hack like that? I thought that was pretty funny for him to make so many mistakes and end up losing and then to call me a hacker. So I enjoyed that. That'll be the final replay of this video. If you enjoyed watching these and you'd like more videos like this, let me know in the comments. If you have any comments or questions about StarCraft II in general, let me know. I'm very knowledgeable about the game. I've played all of the races for more than 10 years.